The impossible return. Commander Sarah Chen pressed her palm against the cold metal of Observation Deck 7, watching Earth's blue marble spin slowly beneath Aurora Station. The coffee in her other hand had gone cold hours ago, but she couldn't bring herself to leave her post. Something felt different today, though she couldn't explain what. The deep space sensors had been picking up strange readings all week, like whispers at the edge of human perception. "Commander Chen, please report to Central Command immediately." The voice crackled through her communicator with unusual urgency. Lieutenant Torres never sounded that shaken. Sarah hurried through the station's curved corridors, her boots echoing against the polished floor. Aurora Station served as humanity's primary deep space monitoring facility, positioned at the edge of the solar system to watch for threats from beyond. In her 15 years of service, nothing truly extraordinary had ever happened. Pirates, asteroid swarms, the occasional diplomatic vessel from the Centauri colonies, but never anything that made Torres sound like he'd seen a ghost. Central Command buzzed with activity when she arrived. Officers hunched over glowing displays while technicians frantically adjusted sensor arrays. The main view screen showed a three-dimensional map of local space, with a single red dot moving steadily toward Earth. "Report," Sarah commanded, settling into her command chair. Lieutenant Torres wiped sweat from his forehead, despite the station's cool temperature. "Commander, we've got an incoming vessel on approach vector 77 Alpha. It's broadcasting human identification codes, but that's impossible." "Why is it impossible?" "Because the ship identifies itself as the UES Harmony, ma'am. That vessel disappeared 50 years ago during the first deep space exploration mission." Sarah felt her stomach drop. Every officer in the fleet knew the story of the Harmony, humanity's first attempt to reach beyond the solar system, carrying 300 volunteers on a mission to establish contact with potential alien civilizations. The ship had traveled for 8 months, sending regular updates about their journey into the unknown. Then, somewhere near the Vega system, all communication ceased. Search and rescue missions found nothing but empty space. "Run the identification codes again," Sarah ordered. "I've checked them 12 times, Commander. The codes are authentic, and they match our records perfectly. But there's more." Torres highlighted several data streams on his display. "The ship's energy signature is unlike anything in our database. Power output is reading at levels that should be impossible with human technology." Dr. Elena Vasquez approached from the science station, her dark eyes wide with disbelief. "Commander, I'm detecting 300 human life signs aboard that vessel, the same number that left Earth 5 decades ago." "That's not possible," Sarah whispered. "Those people would be elderly or dead by now. According to our scanners, they're all in perfect health. Age appears to be approximately the same as when they departed Earth." Elena's voice carried a mixture of excitement and fear. "Their biosignatures show some unusual readings, but they're definitely human." Sarah stared at the approaching dot on the screen. In 6 hours, she would either solve one of humanity's greatest mysteries or face something that challenged everything she understood about the universe. "Send a message to Earth Command. Tell them we have a situation that requires immediate attention. And Taurus, I want all defense systems on standby." "Commander, they're requesting permission to dock," Torres announced. "Granted, but maintain full security protocols. I want armed teams at every entry point." The next 6 hours crawled by like weeks. Sarah watched through the observation windows as the impossible ship approached. The Harmony looked exactly as it had in historical records, except for one disturbing detail. The hull seemed to shimmer with an energy field that made it difficult to focus on directly. Lights danced across its surface in patterns that hurt to watch for too long. When the docking sequence completed, Sarah and her senior staff waited in the main airlock with a full security detail. The doors opened with a soft hiss, and 3 figures stepped through. Sarah recognized them immediately from the mission files. Captain Marcus Webb, a tall man with kind eyes and graying temples, looked exactly as he had 50 years ago. Behind him stood Dr. Jennifer Morrison, the mission's chief scientist, and Commander David Liu, the tactical officer. All three should have been ancient or dead, yet they appeared unchanged by time. "Permission to come aboard, Commander Chen," Captain Webb said with a warm smile that seemed genuine. "Granted," Sarah replied carefully. "Captain Webb, we need to discuss your situation immediately." "I understand you have questions," Webb said. "We have quite a story to tell." They walked to the main conference room in silence. Sarah studied the three returnees as they moved. Something was different about them beyond their unchanged appearance. They walked with a fluid grace that seemed almost inhuman, and their eyes held depths that suggested they had seen things beyond human comprehension. Once seated around the conference table, Sarah got straight to the point. "Captain Webb, your ship has been missing for 50 years. You and your crew should have aged, yet you appear exactly as you did when you left Earth. Explain." Webb exchanged glances with his companions before speaking. "Commander Chen, what I'm about to tell you will sound impossible. 50 years ago, we didn't just disappear. We found something that changed everything. We thought we knew about the universe." "What did you find?" Dr. Morrison leaned forward. "We found the Watchers, Commander. Ancient beings who have been protecting this galaxy for millions of years." Sarah felt skeptical. "Ancient aliens. That's your explanation." "Not aliens," Commander Liu interjected. "Something far older and more significant. The Watchers are the remnants of the first intelligent species to evolve in this galaxy. They achieved a level of consciousness that transcends physical existence, but they maintained their purpose as guardians." Webb continued the explanation. "When we reached the coordinates of our original mission, our ship's systems began malfunctioning. We found ourselves pulled into a region of space that exists outside normal dimensions. There, we encountered structures that defied physics and beings of pure consciousness who had been waiting for us. Waiting for humanity specifically." Alina asked, her scientific curiosity overriding her skepticism. "The Watchers have been observing species throughout the galaxy for eons," Morrison explained. "They've watched civilizations rise and fall, searching for one that might be capable of inheriting their responsibility. Humanity passed their tests." Sarah leaned back in her chair. "What kind of tests?" "Tests of character, adaptability, and potential," Webb replied. "They observed how humans responded to challenges, how we treated each other and other species, our capacity for growth and learning. Most importantly, they tested our ability to work together despite our differences. And we passed." Leo nodded. "Humanity demonstrated something the Watchers had rarely seen. We showed the ability to evolve beyond our basic instincts while maintaining our essential nature. We could adapt without losing our compassion." Belina was taking notes frantically. "What happened to you during those 50 years?" "We were trained," Morrison said simply. "The Watchers shared their knowledge with us, enhanced our capabilities, and prepared us for our role as their successors. Time moves differently in their realm. What felt like a few months to us was decades in normal space." Webb's expression grew serious. "But we weren't just trained to be guardians. We were prepared for a specific threat that the Watchers have been fighting for millions of years." "What threat?" Sarah asked, though part of her dreaded the answer. "The Void Spawn," Liu said quietly. "Entities that exist to consume and destroy. They feed on consciousness itself, leaving nothing but empty space in their wake. The Watchers defeated them once, but it required enormous sacrifice. The spawn were forced into dormancy, but they're beginning to wake up." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. "How do you know this?" Morrison activated a small device that projected a three-dimensional star map. Several regions pulsed with ominous red light. Deep space monitoring stations throughout the galaxy have detected disturbances in these areas. Entire star systems going dark, not just physically but mentally. The Void Spawn consume everything, including the quantum fields that allow consciousness to exist. The Watchers fought them before, Webb continued. But that war cost them their physical forms and nearly depleted their numbers. They can't fight another war like that. They need successors, beings who can exist in physical reality while wielding the power necessary to combat the spawn. And you think humans are those successors? We don't think it, Commander. We know it. Webb stood and walked to the viewing port. The Watchers didn't choose humanity randomly. Our species has unique qualities that make us ideal candidates for this role. Our creativity, our stubborn refusal to give up, and most importantly, our ability to find strength in unity. Elena looked up from her notes. What exactly are you asking from Earth? Morrison answered. We need humanity to prepare for what's coming. The first Void Spawn Scouts are already moving through distant sectors. They'll reach the outer colonies within months. After that, they'll come for Earth and the core worlds. How can we possibly fight something that ancient and powerful? Webb turned back to face them, his eyes glowing with an inner light that definitely wasn't human. Because the Watchers prepared us. They gave us the tools we need, but more importantly, they awakened something that was already inside us. Humanity has dormant abilities that we never knew existed. What kind of abilities? Before Webb could answer, alarms began blaring throughout the station. Tori's voice crackled over the intercom. Commander Chen, we're detecting massive energy fluctuations throughout the solar system. Something's affecting space-time itself. Sarah looked at the three returned officers, whose calm expressions suggested they had expected this development. What's happening? The awakening has begun, Webb said softly. Humanity's transformation into something greater than we ever imagined. The question is whether we can adapt quickly enough to face what's coming. Through the viewing port, Sarah watched as strange lights began dancing between the planets, and she realized that everything she thought she knew about humanity's place in the universe was about to change forever. Humanity's true purpose. The energy fluctuations continued for 3 days, visible from every human outpost in the solar system. Ships reported navigational anomalies, while ground-based observatories detected impossible readings from space itself. Sarah Chen stood in Aurora Station's command center, watching reports flood in from across human civilization. Fear and confusion spread through the colonies as people witnessed phenomena that defied explanation. Commander, we're receiving a priority transmission from Earth, Lieutenant Torres announced. It's Admiral Harrison himself. The main screen flickered to life, revealing the stern-faced man in military uniform. Admiral Harrison commanded Earth's combined defense forces, and his presence meant the situation had reached the highest levels of government. Commander Chen, I'm ordering you to place the returned crew of the Harmony under immediate detention, Harrison said without preamble. Whatever they've brought back is causing chaos throughout our systems. Admiral, with respect, I don't think detention is the answer, Sarah replied. These people may be our only hope of understanding what's happening. What's happening is that strange energy readings are appearing near every major population center, and people are reporting bizarre experiences. Some are claiming they can suddenly understand complex mathematical equations they've never studied. Others say they can sense the emotions of people around them. This isn't natural evolution, Commander. This is contamination. Captain Webb appeared beside Sarah, having entered the command center silently. His presence seemed to calm the chaotic energy readings on nearby displays. Admiral Harrison, humanity isn't being contaminated. You're awakening to your true potential. Harrison's face darkened. And who gave you permission to activate this potential? The Watchers didn't activate anything, Webb explained patiently. They simply removed the barriers that were preventing natural development. Every human carries dormant capabilities that were suppressed to allow your species to develop at a sustainable pace. Dr. Elena Vasquez joined the conversation, her tablet displaying streams of data. Admiral, I've been studying the phenomenon for 72 hours. The energy patterns are consistent with quantum consciousness enhancement. People aren't losing their humanity. They're becoming more human than ever before. Explain that, Harrison demanded. Elena highlighted several data streams. The enhanced individuals are showing increased empathy, improved problem-solving abilities, and better emotional regulation. Crime rates in affected areas have dropped to near zero, while cooperation and productivity have increased dramatically. Webb nodded. The Watchers designed this awakening to enhance humanity's greatest strengths while maintaining your essential character. You're not becoming something alien, Admiral. You're becoming what humans were always meant to be. Before Harrison could respond, alarms began sounding again. Torres frantically worked at his station while new data flooded the screens. Commander, we're detecting multiple energy signatures at the edge of the solar system. Unknown vessels approaching at impossible speeds. The view screen shifted to show deep space sensors. 5 dark shapes moved through the void, their forms seeming to absorb light itself. Where they passed, space itself appeared to dim, as if the very fabric of reality was being drained. Void spawn scouts, Webb said grimly. They found us sooner than expected. Admiral Harrison's expression changed from anger to concern. Are those the entities you warned us about? The Advance Guard, Commander Liu answered, joining the group. They're testing our defenses, trying to understand what they're facing. Dr. Morrison materialized beside them, her form flickering slightly as if she existed partially in another dimension. The scouts are reporting back to the main swarm. If they determine Earth is vulnerable, the full invasion force will arrive within weeks. Sarah felt the weight of impossible responsibility settling on her shoulders. What do? We show them that humanity is no longer the primitive species they expect to find, Webb replied. He turned to address the screen where Admiral Harrison waited. Admiral, we need Earth's government to authorize immediate awakening protocols for all military personnel. What does that mean? Morrison stepped forward. It means consciously activating the dormant abilities in key individuals who can coordinate humanity's defense. The process is voluntary, but those who undergo it will be fundamentally changed. Changed how? Webb answered. They'll retain their personalities, memories, and values, but they'll gain abilities that allow them to interface directly with technology, communicate across vast distances, and perceive reality in ways that normal humans cannot. Lieutenant Torres looked up from his station, his young face pale with fear and excitement. Commander, I volunteer. Torres, you don't understand what you're volunteering for, Sarah said. With respect, Commander, I understand perfectly. I've been monitoring the energy readings for days. Whatever's happening to humans, it's making us better, stronger, more capable of protecting what we love. Elena studied her readings. The lieutenant is right. Every enhanced individual I've examined shows improved physical health, mental clarity, and emotional stability. The process appears to optimize human potential rather than replacing it. Admiral Harrison was quiet for a long moment. If I authorize this, how many people will be affected? Initially, we recommend enhancing key military and scientific personnel, Liu explained. Perhaps 1,000 individuals who can serve as coordinators for the larger population. The awakening will spread naturally from there, but having trained leaders will help humanity adapt more effectively. And if I refuse? Webb's expression grew solemn. Then humanity faces the void spawn as we are now, which means we lose everything. Our civilization, our consciousness, our very existence will be consumed. Sarah watched the dark shapes moving through space on her display. They seemed to pulse with hungry energy, leaving trails of absolute darkness behind them. Admiral, I recommend we proceed with the protocol. Harrison nodded slowly. Very well. Commander Chen, you're authorized to begin the enhancement process with volunteer personnel, but I want constant monitoring and the ability to halt the process if anything goes wrong. Understood, Sarah replied. Torres stepped forward eagerly. How do we begin? Morrison activated a device that projected a complex pattern of light and sound. The process is actually quite simple. You need to consciously accept the change and trust in humanity's potential. Torres nodded and stepped into the projection field. Immediately, his body began to glow with soft golden light. His eyes widened as new understanding flooded through him. When the light faded, he stood straighter, his gaze more focused and aware. "How do you feel?" Elena asked, scanning him with her medical sensors. Torres smiled, his expression filled with wonder. "I can see it all now. The connections between everything. The patterns in space and time. And I can sense the other awakened humans across the solar system. We're not alone." More officers volunteered for the process, and within hours, Aurora Station had a core group of enhanced personnel. They worked with supernatural efficiency, their enhanced minds processing data at incredible speeds while maintaining perfect emotional balance. The Void Spawn scouts continued their approach, but something unexpected happened. As they drew closer to Earth, their advance began to slow. The enhanced humans were somehow affecting local spacetime, creating interference patterns that disrupted the aliens' movement. "They're confused," Webb observed, watching the tactical display. The scouts expected to find primitive humans they could easily overcome. Instead, they're encountering resistance they don't understand. Torres, now serving as the primary interface between normal and enhanced humans, spoke with new authority. "Commander, the enhanced personnel are reporting that they can sense the Void Spawn's intentions. These scouts aren't just gathering intelligence. They're trying to establish a foothold for a massive invasion." "How massive?" Sarah asked. Morrison's expression was grim. "Thousands of ships, each capable of consuming entire worlds. They've been moving through the galaxy for months, leaving nothing but empty space behind them." Elena looked up from her analysis. "But they're having trouble with our solar system. The quantum field alterations caused by human enhancement are creating a defensive barrier they can't easily penetrate." Admiral Harrison reappeared on the screen. "Commander, we're seeing similar effects throughout human space. Enhanced individuals are somehow creating protective fields around populated areas. It's like humanity is developing a natural defense against these entities." Webb smiled. "That's exactly what's happening. The Watchers knew that enhanced humans would naturally generate protective fields against consciousness-consuming entities. It's an evolved defense mechanism." Suddenly, the Void Spawn scouts changed their behavior. Instead of continuing their advance, they began retreating toward the edge of the solar system. Their dark forms pulsed with what looked like frustration. "They're leaving," Torres announced. "But they're transmitting data back to their main force." "What kind of data?" Liu answered. "Information about humanity's enhanced capabilities. They're warning their fleet that Earth is no longer a viable target for quick consumption." Morrison nodded. "The Void Spawn prefer easy prey, species that can't defend themselves effectively. Humanity has just demonstrated that we're not helpless." Sarah felt a surge of hope. "Does this mean we're safe?" "For now," Webb replied. "But this was just the first test. The Void Spawn will adapt their tactics and return with more powerful forces. Then we need to prepare." Torres, his enhanced awareness allowing him to perceive patterns across space and time, spoke with quiet confidence. "Commander, I can sense other awakened species throughout the galaxy. Humanity isn't alone in this fight. The Watchers have been preparing multiple civilizations for this moment." Elena's sensors detected new energy signatures. "I'm reading massive structures materializing throughout the galaxy. They appear to be some kind of defensive network." Webb's expression filled with pride and determination. The final gift from the Watchers. A galaxy-spanning defense system that requires multiple enhanced species to operate. Humanity has earned its place as guardians of this galaxy. Admiral Harrison's voice carried a new tone of respect. "Commander Chen, it appears we're no longer just defending Earth. We're part of something much larger." Sarah looked around at her enhanced crew, their eyes bright with new purpose and capability. Through the viewing port, she could see Earth below, its surface now glowing with the same protective energy that surrounded awakened humans everywhere. "Torres, open a channel to all human colonies and outposts," she commanded. "Channel open, Commander." Sarah took a deep breath, understanding that her next words would mark a turning point in human history. "This is Commander Sarah Chen of Aurora Station. Today, humanity has awakened to its true purpose. We are no longer alone in the universe, and we are no longer helpless against the darkness that threatens all conscious life. She paused, feeling the weight of responsibility and the strength of unity flowing through enhanced human consciousness across the galaxy. We are the inheritors of ancient wisdom, the guardians of galactic civilization, and the protectors of all who cannot protect themselves. The void spawn expected to find a primitive species ripe for consumption. Instead, they found humanity united, enhanced, and ready to fight for the future of all conscious beings. As her words echoed through space, reaching every human settlement, Sarah watched the golden light of human awakening spread across the stars, carrying with it hope, determination, and the unbreakable spirit that had always defined humanity's greatest moments. The echo had returned, and with it, humanity's true destiny among the stars.